What do mutated monsters, Cold War secrets, and forbidden love have in common? They all explode in one crazy movie, The Gorge. Want to know why two snipers are risking their lives and hearts among deadly creatures in the ultimate military conspiracy? You're about to find out. And trust me, you won't believe the twists. Hey everyone, welcome to Vice Recaps. Today, we're diving headfirst into The Gorge, a movie that throws you into a hidden world where Cold War secrets, high-octane battles, and bizarre mutations collide. In a remote military outpost tucked away in a treacherous gorge, guarded by two elite snipers who are forced to live on opposite sides of a deadly chasm. Amid all this chaos, an unexpected connection blossoms. A connection that might just change everything. Let's get into it. The film opens with high tension. In a shadowy forest or cave, a lone sniper woman, Drasa, is lying in ambush. She waits patiently for a plane to arrive. As the aircraft's roar fills the air, a man steps out, and without a moment's hesitation, she fires a single, clean shot. After the hit, she calmly picks up the spent shell casing, lost in thought about her escape plan and the weight of her actions. Meanwhile, we meet Levi, a hardened former Marine sniper whose reputation is as formidable as the ghosts that haunt his dreams. Levi has just woken up from a harrowing nightmare by the sea, watching a happy couple walk their dog, a painful contrast to his own loneliness. And then he receives a mysterious letter summoning him to a massive military base. Despite his family legacy of elite snipers and a record that includes over 113 high-profile kills, Levi is a solitary figure. He carries his burdens alone. He's ushered into the office of a stern, enigmatic woman who calls herself Agent Bartholomew. She outlines his mission and confirms his background as an elite sniper from a military family. Bartholomew also confirms Levi doesn't have a contract with any military agencies, and he occasionally works for the Marines. So she decides to change that. In a parallel storyline, we glimpse Drasa's personal life. At a small Lithuanian cemetery, her terminally ill father meets her on Memorial Day for their late mother. As they exchange bittersweet words, he reminds her why she took a contract to eliminate a notorious oligarch, a man responsible for unleashing untold suffering with phosphorus bombs and anti-personnel mines. Drasa hands him a shell casing, a memento symbolizing both her resolve and the heavy cost of her work. Though her father begs her to stay a while longer, orders call her to report to Moscow the very next day. Her father breaks the news of his cancer being untreatable, and although he tries to not sadden the atmosphere, he says he will take his life on February 14th if death doesn't come for him, so he can finally reunite with his wife. Drasa tries to change his mind, but she knows her father. Levi's journey to the base is nothing short of cinematic. Stripped of his gadgets and watches, he's forced to travel on foot 38 kilometers north, parachuting into a dense forest and trekking through rugged mountains until he finally arrives at his new post. Though he once took on private contracts after retiring from active service, once on federal property, Levi now finds himself on a mission without obligations, just a duty to stand watch. At the base, Levi is assigned to the Western Tower, a fully autonomous outpost powered by solar panels, backed by a generator, and even equipped with its own rainwater collection system and garden. Directly across a deadly chasm lies an identical Eastern Tower, where Drasa is stationed. Strict orders forbid any contact between the two sides. The towers are separated by mine slopes and layers of electronic cloaking that render the entire gorge invisible to satellites and drones. Every 30 days, a brief connection check occurs via satellite transmitters, and the worst-case scenario, a panic button triggers the stray dog protocol. No one really knows what that means, except that it's tied to the Cold War and serves as a final, nuclear failsafe if the base's secrets ever leak out. Levi's daily routine is rigorous. He patrols the perimeter, meticulously restocks automated gun turrets placed every 600 meters, and inspects fortified defense points along the western border. His days are a blend of technical maintenance, lonely radio checking that report everything's fine, and quiet moments spent reading from a collection of books left by previous watchmen. Meanwhile, Drasa endures her own routine on the eastern side, maintaining her tower, keeping vigilant watches, and grappling with memories of past contracts and personal loss. Despite orders to remain isolated, fate has other plans. One day, on her birthday, Drasa decides to break the silence. Bored and yearning for connection, she fires a shot into the air, an unmistakable signal meant for Levi. She then holds up a handwritten sign asking for his name. Though rules clearly state no contact, this bold act ignites something in both of them. Levi, who has long lived in a world of silence and solitude, can't resist. He writes back his own name and, with a wry smile, suggests they share a drink in her honor. From that moment on, secret exchanges begin to fill the void between the two towers. They trade playful messages and occasional challenges, daring each other to prove their sniping skills, or even engage in impromptu dance-off, with Levi joking about his terrible dancing while Drasa teases him. These stolen moments offer a brief escape from their grim realities. But that same night, as the celebration fades into darkness, the true nightmare of the Gorge descends. Out of the inky blackness, mutated creatures known as the Hollow Men begin their assault. These eerie beings, part human and part gnarled tree, are remnants of a failed military expedition from the late 1940s. Peering through his binoculars, he sees the twisted figures scaling the tower walls. On the other side, Drasa is caught off guard when one of the Hollow Men nearly seizes her. In a desperate, heart-pounding moment, Levi's rapid-fire response and Drasa's own fierce determination push back the attackers in a brutal firefight. Bullets and machine gun bursts echo through the night as they narrowly fend off the relentless horde. After the attack, the atmosphere grows even more tense. In the quiet that follows, Drasa tends to her wound and admits it's the best birthday ever. Soon after, as winter descends on the Gorge, a touch of holiday magic appears. Levi surprises Drasa by decorating a solitary tree near his tower with twinkling lights and a heartfelt sign just for her. They begin to share small traditions despite the strict orders, building snowmen with each other's names, playing chess through a narrow window, and even engaging in impromptu drum battles with makeshift instruments. These fleeting moments of levity bring color to their otherwise desolate days. On February 14th, things take a turn. Drasa, usually steadfast and fierce, grows silent, distraught by memories of her late father and the heavy burden of her loss. Levi asks what's wrong, and Drasa confides that it's been a difficult day, and she secretly wishes he were there to comfort her. That night, Levi lies awake, haunted by her words. He finds solace in a quote on the wall about the courage of those who have come far. Inspired, he sets to work building a complicated contraption. When morning comes, Drasa is the first to notice something different. Through her window, she sees Levi firing a launcher toward her side. The explosion sends a rope arcing across the gorge, forming a temporary cable crossing. Without hesitation, she dashes into the woods, and she ties the rope securely to a sturdy tree. She sees a note, an invitation from Levi to share dinner. Emboldened, Levi tidies himself up and gathers a bouquet of wildflowers he found near the base. Then, with a determined leap, he launches himself off his tower, zipping along the rope toward Drasa's side. Finally, he reaches her, and Drasa welcomes him with warmth, inviting him to enjoy a simple meal of rabbit pie. Levi offers her the bouquet and, unable to hide his admiration, tells her just how beautiful she is. In that quiet, intimate moment, the distance between them seems to vanish, replaced by the promise of something deeper. Later, after a night shared by the two of them, they seat under the night, appreciating both their company. The next morning, Levi gets ready to go back. In one of the most heart-pounding sequences, a stray mine detonates unexpectedly, snapping the rope that connects Levi's tower to Drasa's. In a split second of terror, Levi is sent plummeting off the cliff into a raging river below. Without hesitation, Drasa leaps after him. Even though the drop is nearly unthinkable, Levi clings to a massive, gnarled tree as its living branches twist and reach for him. He barely revives in time to shoot it down. Drasa hears the shot and rushes over while Levi, falling from a tree, crashes into the roots. He soon realizes those roots aren't just ordinary. They're moving, trying to pull him underground like they want to feast on him. Just when a massive root-like maw is about to close in on him, Drasa appears and opens fire, forcing the roots to back off. Levi thanks her for coming to his rescue, and she smiles, insisting he'd have done the same for her. They wander through a foggy forest, trying to figure out their next move. Suddenly, a horse made entirely of tangled roots charges at them, ridden by a strange plant-like humanoid that dodges their bullets and attacks Drasa. Levi jumps in to help, and after a fierce struggle, they manage to defeat these bizarre creatures. Once the chaos subsides, Drasa suddenly realizes her rope, essential for climbing back up, is missing, likely swept away by the river. She suggests they follow the river, hoping it might lead to an exit. As they walk, Levi points out a tattered uniform on a fallen rider. It looks like post-war 1940s gear, maybe from the cavalrymen who vanished here long ago. They pause, marveling at the eerie tangle of trees and shrubs that seem to form human shapes out of the rugged landscape. Before long, they stumble upon the ruins of a building that looks like a church. Inside, the pews remain, but disturbing human remains are scattered about. Levi catches a whiff of something familiar and deduces that these people died from cyanide poisoning. Drasa pleads with him to leave quickly, but their escape is cut short when huge spiders drop from above. They sprint for the door, exchanging gunfire with the monstrous creatures as mummified corpses in the pews start to stir. In a desperate bid to escape, Drasa fires a grenade launcher at the wall. The church bursts into flames, and they barely make it out. They try to hide, but with monsters around every corner, Drasa suggests sticking close to the gorge wall, where at least there's some cover. Running along the cliffside, they find an old hangar barely intact where they can barricade themselves and catch a short rest. It soon becomes clear that this isn't just a random hideout. The base is built into the very rock of the gorge. Inside the hangar, they discover an old laboratory chock full of chemicals and dusty equipment. Levi finds a reel of film tucked into an ancient generator, and when he sets up a projector, they watch footage of a lab worker describing a secret coalition between Eastern and Western nations at the end of World War II. The The film explains that while Oppenheimer was busy with the nuclear bomb, these scientists were developing a chemical warhead so powerful it defied description. Then, disaster struck. A massive earthquake rocked the gorge, and the resulting chemical leak fused human DNA with local plants, animals, and even insects, giving birth to these horrifying creatures. The worker even warns that if someone shows no mutation within 5 days, they're immune. Drasa spots a sealed ampoule in the footage, a small hope amid the chaos, and the scientist pleads for mercy on behalf of humanity. After the film, they discover a room of modern equipment that doesn't belong with the old lab, hinting that this place was in use until recently. Levi boots up a computer and reads about a militarized organization called Dark Lake, a private, wealthy company that collects hybrid specimens and seems to be creating super soldiers while guarding its secrets fiercely. Then he sees a program named Stray Dog and recalls a warning from someone named Jared. It turns out this is a code name for a thermal bomb meant to destroy the gorge in case of a leak. Apparently, an earthquake damaged it, leaving the bomb inactive for now. Levi shrugs and admits, if they can't make out, it was still worth it because he got to meet her. As they prepare for what comes next, Drasa realizes she left her bag, filled with ammo and supplies, by the entrance. With no other choice, they head back under cover, tossing a smoke grenade to hide their movements. Out of the hazy light, a long, twisting root lashes out and grabs Drasa's leg, dragging her off at high speed. She's swept away by a creature riding a mass of tangled roots. In the melee, she tries to free herself but ends up slammed against something and loses consciousness. Levi wastes no time. He chases after her and soon finds a ruined missile silo. Inside, Drasa comes to and finds herself trapped in a room with a hollow man, a grotesque creature, apparently the remains of one of Levi's predecessors who once named these monsters Hollow Men. Drasa fights back fiercely, setting the creature on fire with a burning log, though it nearly overwhelms her. Just in time, Levi appears and saves her. He examines the creature and recognizes it as a bitter reminder of the past. They press on and find a field littered with damaged rockets and mutated humans. Creatures fuse with plants in a web-like nightmare. While picking their way through the chaos, a plant-like monster grabs Drasa. Levi struggles to free her. In the ensuing scramble, Drasa fires a grenade that sets the half-plant creature ablaze, allowing them to escape. Before long, they come upon a still-working jeep fitted with a powerful winch. They drive it to the cliff face, and while Drasa fends off a final wave of hollow men, Levi uses the winch to sling a cable upward. The jeep starts pulling them along, but the monsters aren't done yet. They swarm the cable, and the pair must fight desperately as they near the top. Levi almost slips, but he clutches the frame, then punctures the jeep's gas tank, so that fuel drips onto the creatures. He ignites the fuel, and the jeep plunges down, knocking the monsters loose. Finally, they cut the rope and scramble up to the safety of Drasa's tower. After catching their breath, they consider their next move, worried they might be infected. With no time to waste, Levi confesses that he was sent here because he had no one to miss him. But now, everything has changed. Drasa suggests they flee to France, but Levi insists that they must destroy the gorge to keep its secrets from hurting anyone else. Levi crosses back over and radios his superiors, reporting that all is normal. But Dark Lake's drones pick up activity from the Eastern Observer, and Agent Bartholomew orders Levi's elimination. Unbeknownst to him, she's been watching every step via a secret video feed, and orders a helicopter for the next morning. When the helicopter finally appears, Levi and Drasa hide in the forest. But the drones soon track them down. They try to break free from a missile kill zone, but the drones open fire, wounding Levi. Drasa manages to take down several metal hunters, and they eventually slip out of the danger area. Bartholomew, noticing a Buddha quote Levi left on the wall, realizes it's time to flee. Levi and Drasa open fire, sparking a chain reaction of explosions that expose the gorge to spy satellites. Then the stray dog protocol kicks in. Bartholomew and Rest try to escape, but the nuke detonates and set the gorge ablaze. The helicopter is caught in a blast, and Levi is knocked into the river by the shockwave, disappearing into the current. Drasa waits for 6 agonizing days in a nearby cave. When she finally leaves, she heads to France. There, she opens Levi's last letter, a tender poem he wrote just for her. Overwhelmed, she cries as memories flood back. While working at a small cafe, she one day spots Levi sitting at a table. Instead of running into his arms immediately, she hesitantly asks why he's been gone so long. Levi admits he was badly injured, but now he's ready to start over, and even work in her kitchen. They share a quiet, heartfelt kiss, a reminder that sometimes love is the one thing that keeps us going, no matter how wild the adventure. If you enjoyed this recap and found it interesting, leave a like and consider subscribing.